Hey everyone, recently I spent time in Outer Banks, North Carolina, specifically Rodanthe, and it was absolutely incredible. It was a little off season as we went in November, so it was pretty quiet, so it was a great time to soak in views and kind of feel a little bit like a local. It actually flooded there a little bit, so we got to really feel like a local. But honestly, it was just a great time to get my camera out back in my prime when I was about 16 years old, 5 years ago. I was all about camera. I was carrying it everywhere, took a ton of freaking photos, and it was great. And this trip reminded me of how I felt back then. I'm the king of taking random photos and videos, and so this trip was so fun. Today, I wanted to take the time to look through the photos I took. I already posted some videos and posted some photos over all my platforms, but today I wanted to specifically look at the photo catalog. So this software you're seeing right here is called Adobe Lightroom Classic. It's the same people that make Photoshop and Premiere Pro, which is an editing software and all that. They also make Lightroom specifically for like photos, like what we're doing now. So I want to take a look at the photos, take a look at the ones I kept, see what I did with the settings, and maybe teach you a thing or two and show you that, show you how I do things. Now, a lot of this stuff's very subjective. Some people like the look of a lot of different things, so take that in mind as well. But I'll show you what I do and get a clean look, in my opinion, at least. After a few days, finally got my camera out. I did a really cool drive without my camera, and then I'm like, why the frick did I do that? So I never did that again. But first, we got this beautiful frame of the street. I was actually in the driver's seat of the car, which is where I feel like I get a lot of my really good shots from. Got this little composition here. I don't know how far down I want to break these photos, but I've been doing a 4:3 crop with my photos. You can do square crop, 4:5, all that, but I've been rocking with the 4:3. And I always make sure to do an S-curve, which I didn't do on this photo, but I just tweaked the settings and made them look all nice. Really like how this one turned out raw, and this is legit how the street looks right downtown. Obviously, left side is pretty close to water, and on the right side is pretty close to water. If you've never looked up the Outer Banks on a map, it's kind of a trippy experience. I didn't know it looked like that on a map. It's literally just a strip of land. It's so trippy. On the trip, I took 375 photos, which is a fairly low trip, and I ended up keeping 45. Obviously, I keep them all, but I only exported 45 of them, which is pretty usually the case. What is it? 1 in every 7? Next photo. Wow. This is one of my personal favorites right here. We got this little gift shop, and it's just got that Outer Banks look to it with the yellow paint, the vibrant blue right here. I knew I wanted to take a photo of this, and I'm really freaking happy with how it turned out. With the settings, let's take a look at the before and after. This was before, so not a bad shot already, and this is after. Just locking in some of the details a little better. Let's do a before and after this one too. 4 overexposed, terrible looking photos since I was taken out of a driver's seat. After. Just making it a little more digestible. But main thing with this one, I always start out with just curving this a little bit with darkening the shadows and brightening the, whatever these are, highlights. I don't even know. Just S-curve, all right? I'm not a professional here. I'm just a vibester. Next thing that I've been recently doing, I don't know who I saw this from, but it just makes a little thing pop, is there's this red, green, blue curve as well. And I just ever so slightly tip this down just a little bit and increase this one to curve the colors. And it makes a really cool contrasty thing. So they pretty much still look straight on that axis, but they're not. I tweak them a little bit and it makes a big difference. And then after I do the curves, I always make sure to tweak this a little bit to my liking. Obviously, this one was a little too bright for my liking, so a lot of this was like lowering the exposure, lowering the highlights to really make sure those clouds are popped or whatever. Ooh, I should have removed that. Upping the shadows to show some of this stuff off. Let's just a little bit. You know what I mean? Just all in good faith here. And then adding a little more contrast, upping the whites, darkening the blacks. A lot of this stuff's BS. It's just fun to play with these sliders. Does it really make that huge of an impact? No, but we're trying to have a good time here. Come on. What else am I looking at? Don't usually touch color grading. I know some people do. Don't usually touch detail. Always have these two checked and always auto correct the tilt. So I just press auto here, makes it just look a little straighter for how it thinks it should be. Which maybe I didn't do that for this photo. I don't know. It didn't look that different to me. that looks the best. So that's pretty much my workflow with photos. It's not that extensive. I did back in the day do a lot of different things, made my photos super orange or super edited and contrasty, and then I'm like, screw that. That looks terrible if I look at it after a year and my style has changed. So I always take a photo of how something pretty much looks in real life so that I kind of know how it actually looked and just make it look a little cleaner. This was the same building, different perspective, not huge on this photo. I always love playing with the objects of the building like this. So just kind of having it take up this third of the frame. This was cool, but there's just a little too much sky here. But I thought it was enough to do. Same sort of editing platform. What do we do here? Like he said, it was flooded. There was water freaking everywhere. So this road, you got to drive over the water to get there. But this is just a neighborhood. This is the edit I did. Definitely took things a little more orange just because, you know, that Outer Banks TV look. Come on. I really liked this shot at the time. It's definitely not one of my favorite ones, but nothing crazy here with editing. Very same editing workflow. Let's go on. This photo is absolutely atrocious. Unless you don't care, then it looks great. People have been loving blurry photos recently. There's been some photographers around here that do a ton of blurry photos. They freaking kill it. Man, there's a really good photographer that used to live in, I don't know where she used to live. She's in Hawaii now, and she'll do like blurry couple photos. Esther's Canon. Her name's Esther, and she shoots on Canon. That's her username. She did a lot of blurry photos. I'm sure people did it before her, but she's where I first saw it, and just tons of people have been doing the same thing, and I always make sure to include a blurry photo or two into my sets. This was the before, this was the after. I wanted to make it feel like I was driving, which we were driving. I wasn't driving, but I was riding, and this is how the views looked as I drove by them. Just took a picture of a house, tried to get as much details as possible back, and it always looks good every once in a while in a fun set. Next photos, just wanted to capture the unique aspects of this house. All the houses kind of have this style with the interesting colors and all that, and the trees and all that. So just a fun little photo, not one of my favorites. But this next, wow, this one's sick. We took a little drive to the nearby park. It's just absolutely beautiful. This is the cove side of the Outer Banks. So one of them is the ocean side that's getting crashed with waves, and this side a little more chill when it comes to the water. Still the ocean, but just a little more chill. I saw this area where there's a little sand pathway to the beach, and the orange was coming in from the sun, and I'm like, well, I gotta eat this up right away. So definitely want a little dramatic with colors here. I said that I'm pretty accurate to where it was at. Not with this one. This is kind of how it looked on the before, but really wanted to make sure that I got a nice photo of the pathway showing where you lead up to, and then leading up to the ocean, showing a good amount of that fun sky, and then grass on both sides, and really, really, really enunciated the orange on this one. One unique perspective that I got was from Ben Scar, a friend of mine that I met on social media. He's killing it in New York City right now at NYU, but he said when it comes to editing beyond what it looks like in person, so this is over editing, which isn't always a bad thing. I was curious. I'm like, why do you over edit? You know what I mean? What makes you want to edit, your stuff that much? And he said, I want it to resemble how I felt when I saw it rather than what I was seeing. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool that you say that. So I've always kept that in mind ever since he said that. Still not a fan of going overboard with my stuff because I don't enjoy it, but it's definitely made me do it a little more with photos like this. What did I really do here? If you want to get the orange look, obviously the easiest thing you can do is mess with the temperature slider. This is the temperature slider straight out of camera, and this is what I did, so just a little adjustment there. Same principles though, just making it look contrasty with the S-curves, messing with this to further make the contrast look better and more matched and balanced, and then straightening it as well. Next one, gotta go with a tighter up angle of the waves. Absolutely scoped this one out, absolutely love this photo. Not my main style of photo, but I ate this up for real. This was right on the same beach. Great stuff. Forest area was so sick. This was one of my favorite areas of the whole experience from there. Absolutely loved this. This is the before, this is the after. I didn't really do too much to this one, but just a beautiful shot. I'm a little mad though, because in person you can clearly see this pathway, but you kind of lose it when you're shooting it on camera, which is sometimes what happens, and that's just part of photography. This is my friend shooting a photo of me. There I am. I look a little orange, but that's okay. I did what I could. Here's some of the neighborhood that I was around. It all has its same unique look. This was across the street. More of the neighborhood. See how it's flooded and the trash cans are everywhere? That's just because we're local as frick. And we get to this photo and it looks so sick. Got the water pooling in on the roadside from the flooding. Got the reflections here. We're kind of messing with thirds a little bit. Let's look here. Look at the thirds here. You got the thirds of the trash cans there. You got this other third on the top of the house. And you got details on both sides. Thirds meaning rule of thirds. A lot of people break photography into this 3 grid ray. If there's stuff happening here and in here, you probably got yourself a good photo. A lot of the times I'll try to fit my subject in one of these, even if I just have one subject. Now there's multiple things to look at here, so I don't even know the direct definition of rule of thirds, but I know I'm definitely hitting the rule of thirds here. Maybe I'm wrong, but you can go suck it up if I am. Unique photo. This really capsulated the trip well. Very happy about this photo. Hit some more sunset ones. Look at these freaking neighborhoods, dude. They're actually freaking dope. I keep saying freaking dog. Look at all this. Definitely not as happy with these photos as I was using a lens with an aperture of 4. I wasn't able to go down anything lower than 4. And that means you're really messing with your low light capabilities, meaning if you lose light in the daylight, your photos are going to get worse, as where some lenses are actually killer at nighttime. Mine were not, so I didn't really get these photos to the way I wanted them to look, but they're still sick. This one's actually not bad. Let me show you an edit on one of these. Let's look at the before photo of this. Watch this. Terrible. What I do at nighttime is you totally shoot to make sure that this isn't overexposed the heck out of. If I were to expose it for this building, this sky would be even more blown out than what it is. In order to pull off this look, you need to raise your shadows very much. So my shadows with the edit that I had right here would probably look like this. But if I raise the shadows to 100, you actually can see something. Now, if you do that, you're going to absolutely grain the heck out of your image, but I don't give a heck. This is just for me. One way to fix that grain if you want to through Lightroom is the denoise feature, which I actually forgot to use in this set of photos. I think it's under detail. You just press denoise and with some sort of software, it'll help take out this noise for you and replace it with a smoother looking image, which has been sick and has clutched up for me in the past. Not real stoked. Oh, this one's sick. This was the house we stayed in. This wasn't that cool photo, but was cool for me because this was the view going into the house after you're done at the beach. Stairway up there. Obviously, the houses are pretty much on stilts due to, flooding reasons and all that. It was great. This was a fun little photo as I got going up the stairs. This was the church across the street that I showed earlier, and this is the before, this is the after, using the methods that I've been showing you thus far. And I like taking funky photos like this with different shapes and textures. You got the wood here, you got the building here, you got tree here, sky here, power lines. It all is a little bit of a mess, but we kind of love the mess sometimes. Ooh. I saw this POV going up the stairs. Absolutely adored that. It made me feel like you got to admire man while admiring nature. You know what I mean? So this, I just imagine a beautiful, perfect family staying in next to their beach. Makes me happy. Same thing with the rule of thirds. Watch this, all right? Rule of thirds. This is even more better example of the rule of thirds. Look at this third. Look at this third. Boom. Got a third here. I could have made it so it was right here. Not as good looking of a photo when your subject's right here, is it? But when it's right here, ooh, it looks beautiful. See it, your eye knows what it's seeing. Actually crazy. Did a few different ones of this, a little more zoomed in. Let's go to our backyard view. This was if we were on the balcony. This is what we saw. Of course, I'm going to take a photo of that. I think it's a beautiful frame. The night after we went to that beach, we went to the beach again, and I brought my better lens. So prepare for some freaking awesome colors. Wow, I almost like the before on this photo. See, sometimes you screw your own photos up. Part of the game. This was kind of fun. I saw this bench sitting on the beach, so thought it looked peculiar. Saw a lot of different textures. Took a little photo of it. It was actually pretty red out. Obviously, I made the red a little more red, which I shouldn't have done. I think this looks more terrible from the edit too, but it is what it is. This photo is terrible. I exposed for my friend Kid. Skies were blown out, but this lens was very, very, very forgiving. So just with my adjustments that I've been showing you, I was able to make it look like this. Mess with the temperature balance, lowered exposure, cranked down the highlights is what's really made the sky even a little bit appearable. Mess with the shadows and the whites and all that. Messing with the highlights is what causes all these weird details. So you got to be careful with that. But I don't give a rip. I still think it looks sick. Watch this piece of magic right here. I didn't have a flash on this guy. I literally exposed for the sky here. Check this out. Boom. Tried to get the sky as much as possible. He's literally all shadow on the before photo. All you have to do is lower a little bit of the image here. Lower those highlights to get that sky to come back in. Raise those shadows. Pro photographers hate me, but the amateurs absolutely love me. And then you get somewhat of a result like this. Without a flash, I just used what I could in the moment. Now, this was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Pretty dark out at this time. Just the sun's doing its thing, and a lot of time when you got a sun coming at you, it's really going to wide out a little bit. Now with this lens is called the Zeiss 55mm 1.8. It is a beast. The way it shows color, the way it focuses and makes things look is absolutely beautiful. So this is how I took it straight out of camera. It was absolutely insane. Threw a little bit of edit on there. Wow, like the sky, the sun is almost like exposed somehow. I've never seen such a thing. On my other lens, this would have been wided out, like huge circle around it. It would have been absolutely terrible. So that absolutely wowed me. And then the photo after, one of my favorite photos I've taken. Definitely not the focal length that I would take it at ideally, but the colors pulled perfectly. You got all the colors coming in here, and then obviously this solo boat looks so sick. Here's the after, here's the before. The way it pulled in the colors was so sick. The glossy water, the beautiful sky, the freaking war fight that looks like it's going there, even though it's not, it's just plain flights. So sick, one of my favorite photos. Let's go back in to see why the Zeiss 55 1.8 is one of the best lenses of all time ever. Look at this freaking portrait. I didn't have him posed too well, but I think it's sick. It's natural. This is my boy Kate Hansen. He's a dog. This is the before photo. A little underexposed, can't lie, but with a little bit of love. Look at those colors, pop. Mess with the slides a little bit. This was looking a little dark originally, or not dark, but you know what I mean, purple, blue, whatever you want to say. So I just brightened her up a little bit with some orange. Not brighten, I just made it more orange. How about that? Raised the exposure as it was looking a little dark before. This is too bright. You know, you just got to feel it till it's just right. This is the workflow here. Anyways, that's what I had it at. Lowered the highlights, raised the shadows, lowered the whites, raised the blacks. That's what you do. Some more great photos of friends. I love the way this thing pulls out portraits. I thought these would look better than they did, but they turned out all right. This is my boy Jonathan. What a dog this man is. Love that guy. Oh, and then you got some real magic happening in these next ones. I got this baby and I got this baby. Let's talk about them. This is the one I used I almost think this photo's a little bit better, but I like how this one showed off the beach a little more. Wait, maybe I did use this one. I think I used this one. Let's talk about it. As you can see, this photo is originally pretty blue and pretty dark. It's because I literally took this when it was pretty much close to pitch black out. In order to do this, I shot at some crazy settings. I shot at, where does it tell me? Where does it tell me? Where does it tell me? Here we go. I shot at 1/5 of a second, meaning it took 1/5 of a second for me to take that photo. And that allows more light to come in the lens when you have, it allows for more light to come in and touch the sensor, allowing for a brighter image. I did that. I shot at 1.8, meaning I'm letting the most light come in for aperture, however that works. And then I kept my ISO pretty low, as you don't want to raise your ISO too high all the time. So this allowed for, this to stay exposed, as well as the water and these details to come in as well. And then just to make it a little more pretty, I added back in what it looked like in person, which purple sky, orange windows, detail here, made out for a really good photo. One of my favorites, actually. And then I made this one as well. But this was the behind the scenes of my little photo set. If you want to take dope photos like this, the key is literally just having a camera with you wherever you go and using the manual settings on the camera so you can do whatever the heck you want on your mind. If you use the auto settings, you're just kind of cutting off your own imagination a little bit, which I would hate for you to do. But I'm not going to be one of those guys to tell you not to. If you tell yourself there's nothing to shoot, there's going to be nothing to shoot. If you take your camera with you and find those small moments, not only will you take good photos, but you will tell your eye what's beautiful. And you can think a lot of things are beautiful in life, even with no camera on you, just because you see the world differently. One of the big blessings of me taking photos is I really enjoy observing light and shadows, which I know a lot of other creatives do as well. It's just another fun reason to live life and see things, is you get to appreciate every little thing in the moment, even if you don't have the flashiest things or the most perfect friends or relationship or whatever. You can still make life fun right where you're at all the time, even if it's just you in the world. And I think that's a beautiful thing to do. So for today's video, let me know which one was your favorite, or if you need help or want me to review a photo further or something. I probably won't do that, but yeah, I would. If someone would, I would. All right, I would. I'm Isaac Jarnigan. I'd love to connect with you. All my links are in the description. Connect with me where you connect best, and would love to have a conversation with you. Peace and love, and have a good one.